Here's a flying machine we acquired recently. It's a desktop one. You're supposed to use it as a bit of decoration, but isn't it beautiful? Perfect little detail. And imagine a man actually flying one of those in the air. Beautifully made, somewhere in the Far East, and it's a splendid bit of work there. And it's all made with local materials, woods and metals and things, no plastic at all. So this is what I've got for this year's Christmas pack, about 10 items, of which that's one of my star pieces, I think. And the others are equally strange and bizarre, and I have such fun collecting them every year. The next one is an extraordinary double optical effect, which is very hard to explain and consists of just two things. A screen of special plastic, which has got tiny little lines on it, and a very strange thing here. It's a felt tip pen where I put a rather ugly little twist in it by heating it, so there's a reason there. So what this does is you put it on the table like this, and you put this over like this, so it's quite visible. But when I lift this up from it, a little way up, the ugly twist disappears. It's being healed. It's still there all the time, but it's very visible when it's down there, but when I lift it up to about here, for some reason or other, it disappears, which is extraordinary. So this lens has healed the pen and taken away its nasty blemish. Something even more remarkable occurs when you turn this 90 degrees, or this time I'll turn this to lens if necessary, 90 degrees, and something really extraordinary happens. And I'll keep it up here as I'm doing it. And now we find certainly the blemish is gone, but the middle of the pen's gone as well. You can see the two ends of the pen very clearly, there and there, which you cannot see the centre. It's vanished. The remarkable way of presenting this to people is to put the pen in your fingers like this on the middle of the pen, and after showing the first effect, which is the pen being healed, turn it sideways and then show, look what's happening now. You can't see the middle of the pen. You can see the ends of the pen because they're sticking out either side of the lens, but you can't see the middle. You can see my fingers wiggling though, quite clearly. But there's nothing on top of it, or so it appears. It's very, very strange and very hard to explain, but it's certainly there, but now it's vanished. Pen and all, my fingers are still there. So how is that working? It's something that's very difficult to explain, but wonderful. And here's another bit of science which, well, I'll demonstrate what you do, but you won't actually appreciate this until you actually try it out. It's called nitinol metal in a superelastic form, and when you bend it, it's a kind of it's a thermal and shape transducer. It changes as you bend it, it gets hot, and when you straighten it, it gets cold. Now the temperature sensitivity on the top of the skin where my lip is the most sensitive, so you hold it against your lip, let it warm up till you can't feel it cool anymore. It's ambient temperature. When I bend it hard like this, wow, just for a second it was quite hot, but not going to hurt you. Now what you do is take it away and cool it down to the ambient temperature, the room temperature, and I can't feel any temperature difference now, but when I straighten it, oh, icy cold, just for a moment, ambient temperature, that's hot, ambient temperature, that's icy cold. Extraordinary idea, and lots of instructions about what's going on there with this example of superelastic nitinol metal. Here's something a little more light-humoured. It's a little charming key fob. I asked the chap why they made it in the form of key fobs. Apparently it's a tax reason. If this was a toy, it would be certain classification of taxes. If it's a key fob, it seems to be cheaper. So it's a charming idea that it's one of those pop things. When you squeeze it, it pops out like that. Well, I like this because as I'm getting older, I can't be bothered to scramble under the chairs to find the ball that's popped out for the large size. But you just put it in and squeeze it tight, and it makes a lovely, satisfying pop sound, and you don't lose the ball. It just sits there like that. Very easy, and it is a key fob, but it's a nice one because I think it's been well constructed. There's a wonderful company in America called California Creations, for many years been making wind-ups, and this is a lovely example of what they can do. These people make beautiful, beautiful things. Here we go. Wind about a bit more. Wind, and now look. And it tips over like that. Isn't that astonishing? just about to do one more, yes. Oh, he's done it almost. So he flips over and runs all over the place. So a very nice little thing for children to play with. I'll turn it down and go flap, 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 flap. My goodness. And here's an extraordinary pen. I think this is one of my favourite items for the last few years. It looks like a ballpoint pen with a very, very shiny surface to it. It's called Crush Metric, which is a strange name. And the ballpoint has to come out of here. And here's a lever to do it. See what happens to this when I push. All crinkle, 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 but beautifully geometrical pattern. It's been crushed. If I did this and just push it with my fingers, it crushes it and makes it crush up in a very, 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 very orderly pattern. And at the same time, the ballpoint's coming out, and I can now write with that if I want to. And then you can replace the centre as well. But that's an extraordinary transformation from this smooth, smooth side to one with lots and lots of crinkles, a Crush Metric pen. And it's very functional. You can write with it. It writes quite a large, quite a generous little container holding the ink in it. It'll write for quite a number of thousands of words. And there's a marvellous little thing here, which are, they've adapted these little well-known objects from days of what a CD disc is, and they've made them into hovercraft, would you believe? What you have to do is to blow it up. Put it over here. Put it on here like this, put it on the table, and it whirls around. Let's try another one, do it once more. It's got a little side jet here, which means it won't just stay there and hover, it'll actually move forward, which I'll have a go make it do this time. Put my finger over the edge. Now, let's see if we can make it actually move. Yes, there we are. Woof, and off it goes. You're provided with two, so you can have them doing a race. You have to stick this to the surface and then away it goes. So an extraordinary thing to do with these surplus CD-ROMs. They turn them into hovercrafts. And a nice packaging that goes with it too, incidentally. Here's an extraordinary thing called the Bernoulli effect, which I think is absolutely magical. It's two balloons, simple little balloons, and held together with string. And normally if you blow on them, out they go, and that blows away from me. But if you do a puff of air in the middle of the balloon, exactly in the middle of the balloon, something completely counterintuitive happens. Watch. They don't blow out, they come together. And if I direct a straw there into that gap, ooh, did it again. So it's explained in the instructions of what's happening when you get an airflow, you get a drop in pressure. And so these rush in to fill the vacuum, well, sort of. But it's a nice demonstration of something that's very counterintuitive. Blow on something, it goes away from you, but these ones come together. And the last item is a Christmas card. Oh no, there's one more. Hang on, I'll do two more. I'll try this one next, actually. This is my something I discovered in various books on novelties. This is an extraordinary bit of art form from two people, one in Russia and one in South America, moved to America, taking pencils and then crafting the pencil material the graphite is made from into most extraordinary intricate things. It takes them hours and hours to make, and this one is my favourite artist because he's actually using the wood of the pencil to create the things. I mean, it's quite incredible what he's doing, but most of them, there's a nice bit of write-up on both of them, doing the most marvellous, highly detailed work with graphic art, just using the simple pencil. I think that's absolutely amazing. I love these things. I love the little hammer at the bottom there, which is just beautiful. They slip in lovely things. So that's one of my favourite sheets to give out to people to say, have a look at this. This is an artist doing something amazing. So here's the last item. It's a Christmas card. This is such a nice one. I've got this, put this into my own Christmas pack, I think. And you're supposed to hold it up to eyes like this. I'll take my glasses off for it. And to focus it, you're supposed to squeeze like that, and you see a lovely little scene of nativity scene, and all in 3 dimensions. I'll give you a little semblance of what you're looking at inside by holding it close to you there. Don't forget, you're looking at it with a monocular camera, but what you're going to see is in three dimensions that rather charming little Christmas scene, and you see that all in highly detailed 3 dimensions using your 2 eyes. It looks quite magical, I think, and yet the whole thing folds flat like that and goes into an envelope. So it's a marvellous bit of fun, a stereoscopic card of a very, very high order. And the whole thing is going to go into our usual pretty package. The whole lot all fits into here for Christmas time. So it's a bit early to wish you happy Christmas, but I hope you'll enjoy this when it comes to Christmas and you find yourself looking through an extraordinary range of very, very interesting and attractive and very surprising toys.